My name is Grace Weber, and I'm the founder of Grace Weber's Music Lab. I think the most incredible thing you can do for another person, especially a young person, is to notice them for who they authentically are. At the Music Lab, we create a space where young people can come and be themselves and get celebrated for it. I grew up in Milwaukee, and so many of my musical roots are here. I grew up singing in the Central City Youth Gospel Choir, and I was a part of a show called We Are the Drum, and I wouldn't be the singer or artist I am today without the musical education I got here in this city. The Music Lab happens once a month at 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. Every month we have guest artists and mentors from Milwaukee and around the world come to the Music Lab and work with high school students on their craft. Whether you're a singer in a band or you want to go into the business side of music, the Music Lab has something for you. We called it the Music Lab because we want it to be a space where you can be wildly creative and use your imagination in whatever ways you want. I want the Music Lab to be a place in Milwaukee for young people to learn, meet new friends, and become the artists and visionaries they want to be. One of the greatest powers of music is its ability to bring people together. No matter what high school you go to, what neighborhood you're from, or what kind of music you play or like, we want high school students from all over Milwaukee to help create the next community of musicians in this city and help tell the rest of the world what Milwaukee sounds like.
What up, what up, what up, what up? Hello, hello, everybody. Hey, I'm so excited. I feel like I said it every time, but I really am excited for today. Welcome to Grace Weber's Music Lab. If you are not familiar, my name is Be Free, and I am the music education coordinator over at 88.9 Radio Milwaukee, as well as a singer, songwriter, artist myself. And I am so happy to be presenting our final Music Lab for 2021. We have been going very strong since September of this year, and we have even more stuff coming up in the spring, but we wanted to close out on a really good note, and I think that this one is definitely going to be that. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. I always want to give a little bit of an overview for everybody who may not be familiar with Music Lab and let you know what it is that we do. So my good friend Grace Weber, who is an artist originally from Milwaukee, joined up with 88.9 to create this program called the Music Lab, where we bring in high school students, age students, and we teach them about the music industry in all its different facets by having people who actually work in the industry talk to them with interviews and performances and giving live feedback to their own art and things like that. And it's super, super dope. And it's something we've been growing for about 3 years now. So we're in our 4th year of operation. Am I getting the numbers mixed up? I think it might be year 5, so don't count me on that. But we've been going for a very, very long time. Now, normally this is something we do over in our performance space at 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. But obviously, since the pandemic, we had to make some switcheroos. And I'm proud to say we have been going very strong since the height of the pandemic in March of 2020 by switching to a completely virtual format, which is great because even though it's something that we aim towards teens, that means everybody from anywhere can tune in from no matter where you are. So we've had people from Africa watching, we've had people from different coasts in the country, no matter what age group you're in. If this is something that interests you, you can tune in and vibe with us, okay? So I think this one especially is going to be cool for anybody of any range and interest to check out. So definitely make sure you share this link with your friends, with your peeps, anybody that might be interested in what we got going on. And if you are in the Milwaukee area and you know of a teen specifically who might benefit from this program and joining us and being a part of this, let them know about Grace Weber's Music Lab. But if you want to find out more about what we got going on, you can find more information at gwmusiclab.com or follow us here on Facebook or on our Instagram at gwmusiclab. Before we go on, I want to always take a moment to shout out our special sponsors, the people who are responsible for helping us get here, which includes Advocate Aurora Health, American Family Insurance, the Daniel M. Sorf Charitable Trust, MPS Partnership for the Arts and Humanities, the Ralph Evinrude Foundation, and, of course, 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. So This semester has been really, really cool so far. Back in September, we kicked everything off with a special session with me and Grace as the guest, and we talked about music rollouts. And we were discussing all the different tactics you can go about with releasing your music and videos. Last month, for a National Depression Awareness Education Month, we brought in a music therapist for the first time, and we got to talk about that job and that career path, and even got a really cool demo. This month, we're going to be closing out the fall semester with a continuation of a theme that we established last year, mixing and mastering. And this special guest is somebody that you are definitely want to go and check out, even beyond what we're going to be talking about today. He's going to be giving us some super gems. If you are not familiar with what we've been doing, all these episodes are archived on our Facebook page at GW Music Lab. And also, if you are a teen watching right now and you are in the Milwaukee area, please put your name and your high school in the comments, because we also have special giveaways for any local teens who are tuned in with us. So make sure you spread the word on that as well. So, gotta clear my throat for this one, right? Our special guest went from being an aspiring artist to a sought-after mixing engineer with an ear and passion for music. He made his way to one of the biggest hubs for music in Los Angeles in 2013. He landed a gig at the famous Larrabee Studios, quickly worked his way up to becoming an assistant mix engineer there, and had a hand in albums for today's biggest pop, alternative, hip-hop musicians for about 3 years. Shortly after leaving that studio, he founded Mix One LLC with the goal of building a community of engineers. Super, super dope. He is now the first and only mixing engineer represented by the legendary Quincy Jones. With several years of experience and a developing list of clientele, he's recently landed placements with Netflix, HBO, Gatorade, and Apex Legends. This year, he also teamed up with Universal Music Group for their popular meditation app called Calm. And they created a Calm remix series, which features 60-minute long songs with artists like Post Malone, Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, Shawn Mendes, Casey Musgraves, and more. Those accolades alone are amazing, y'all. I'm excited to bring on. Can you guys please give a rousing virtual welcome to Jeff Jackson? Or I like to call him, he's a famous Jeff Jackson. What's good? Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good. It's been a long time. Now, you guys, yeah. I feel like we have so many awesome guests that come through here, but I always have a special affinity when it's somebody that I know. And Jeff and I go way, way back to the beginning of both of our early days, starting out with what we're doing now. Yeah. But I gave him a really, really cool rundown of what you've been up to these days. So I'm going to dive right into the interview. And guys, if there are any questions that come up as we're speaking that you have for Jeff that I'm not covering or that you want to learn more about based on the question, put them in the comments, okay? We are here for you guys. If you want something specifically answered, then that's what that's there for. We'll pull it up on screen and we'll make sure that we get Jeff to answer that question for you guys, all right? And also we got a congratulations in Tigris. Hey! I love it.
What's
I
up,
love
Grandma?
when the family tunes in. That's love, man. That's love.
The live update on the comments. I love that.
Love it. Hey guys, also reminders. Grandma? Local Milwaukee teens, if you're here in the stream with us, jot down your name and high school in those comments, guys, so we can make sure we get you in those giveaway entries. So, my man, Jeffrey. We usually open up all of our interviews with the same way because our primary target audience are teens between the ages of 13 and 18. So we always want to be looking at a standpoint of advice we can give from people from there on. So can you please tell us what you yourself were doing in that age bracket, whether it was something musically related or otherwise, maybe you weren't doing music at all, and just try to paint an image of your artistic path from your teen years.
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember a time when I wasn't doing music. So around teenage years, I was producing because I started off as an artist. So just singing, rapping. Then I got into producing and, toying around with engineering. I feel like as an artist, I've always wanted to achieve like the highest quality recording. So I was like 13. I was trying to figure that out, see a studio for the first time. Just working towards that goal. Yeah.
You were a singer? Is this was your initial career path? Is that what you said?
Right.
That's wild to me because I've never heard you sing.
Yeah, no, I can't sing now, but at like 7, that's when I started to like, okay, I heard an instrumental for the first time. And so I just replayed what the artist did. And, it was Usher. He was singing. So, I was singing. Okay. And then it turned into rap, so.
So you came into this aspiring to be an artist. Did you have an artist name that you wanted to go by?
Oh, man. Wow. Luckily, this isn't searchable. It was epic. It was epic. Hopefully, there's no links to this.
We won't highlight this aspect in our recaps. I like that. Yeah. I like that. It would have been a stamp. Like, man, who is it? This guy is epic. Like, who? Epic. It would look like Mike Jones kind of situation. Like, who? Epic. No, I know it's epic, but who is he?
Right. Yeah. It was epic.
That's cool.
It was a couple like renditions. There were a couple versions floating around, but definitely decided on epic. So
yeah, epic. All right. So we just got a Music Lab exclusive, y'all. So
put epic in parentheses under my name.
If you ever reach out to him on IG, it's called Hey Epic.
What's up, Epic?
So we know that that's how you got your initial start or interest, rather. But what was something that specifically encouraged you to shift directions into the one that you're in now?
Yeah, I think as an artist, I didn't have as much confidence. I feel like I was working by myself, so it wasn't like a collaborative sort of thing where I knew someone who had the same kind of musical aspirations or like calling to music. So I just kind of, transitioned out of it. I didn't have as much confidence as being an artist than I did like behind the scenes. And so I just went to school for engineering.
Okay. So, and the school that you're talking about is Columbia College of Chicago.
That's one of them. Yeah.
One of them, yes.
Yeah. First, I went to Southern Illinois in Carbondale. So
okay, shout outs to Carbondale folks.
Yeah, shout out to Carbondale. And I transferred at the end of my sophomore year.
Okay.
Because I got an internship over at Classic, and then I transferred to Columbia. So.
Now, I think that's super interesting because Classic is actually where Jeff and I ended up crossing paths for the first time. Because I was over at Vandercook College of Music. I was working on my master's at the time in music ed. And I was hanging out with my friends. So shout out to Lily K and everybody, Peter Cottontail. And I mentioned that I wanted to start recording my own music. And I had never done a full project before. And they were working with you for their stuff. And we all linked up. And it was such an amazing experience for me, never having fully been in a recording situation before. I felt like you were extremely well versed. And even at that point, so like it was a super great connection to have made. So if you ever looking on my stuff, on my Spotify or anything, my whole first album that's on there was completely recorded, mixed, and mastered by this guy right here. Okay, including 2 songs on the second one. So lots of dope local connections here. Shout outs to Classic too, because we had Chris Classic as a guest last November for our mixing and mastering volume 1. So I like the sense of continuity we got here.
Yeah, shout out to Classic.
So between your time at University of Illinois Carbondale and Columbia, were there any specific factors or sources that you felt contributed greatly to what you're doing now? Or were there any sources outside of your schooling during your time that helped you develop your skill sets?
Yeah, definitely. It was more outside, which is why I didn't return. Um, so like classic was like the biggest source outside of Columbia and the university. I had a before classic. I had a teacher at Southern Illinois in Carbondale, Todd Harriman,
Okay.
and like when I tell you, I wasn't like in a certain. I having a certain amount of credits, so I couldn't like be. I didn't have access to the studio at the school. But Todd, because I was a freshman, like I think you have to be like a junior. Todd is like, okay, I'll give you a test, and depending on how well you do on this test, I'll give you access to the studio. So passed the test. I had to show him I knew routing, blah blah blah, and then he's like, yeah, you can sign up for class. So I started recording people, like at Carbondale when I was a freshman, just working out of the studio. So that was cool.
That's what's up.
So him and Classic.
Now, when you were, first of all, I appreciate any educators that allow people to take a shift in their directions like that, because it's one thing to learn about things when you're in school, but the experience you get to apply what you're learning is super, super grateful and appreciative. So I'm glad you were able to do that. So this field of, I find it interesting that you're focusing on mixing now, because a lot of people generally know what that is, but they don't like truly have an idea. Like, can you just give us, our audience, a brief synopsis of what a mixing engineer's job is?
Yeah, a mixing engineer's job is to make sure the song delivers the emotion that it's intended to like give. So technical side of it is you have to make sure things aren't distorted, things play well on different systems. So like the song should sound good in your AirPods, in your car, on the radio. But basically, my job is to make things sound nice and clean and good, balanced, so you can hear everything. So
it's a science. It's definitely a science from what I gather. Because like even if you have like a general knowledge base of what you're doing, everything is still based on like real time listening and adjustments. You know, and based on what's going on orally. So I think it's a super temperamental field to be in, but it's also one of the most, if not the most valuable, next to like music production in itself. So. Yeah. Super kudos for that. We have a lot of aspiring, we have producers and artists that we've hosted here in our team. So I really want them to be able to understand like how this plays into everything that they're doing right now in case they have any aspirations of their own. So this question wasn't initially posed, but I'm curious, when you knew that you were going to do this for real, like what was the first thing that you purchased? What was the first like important piece of equipment or something that you purchased that was super important to you starting your career as a mixing engineer?
Yeah, I think it was a microphone.
Okay.
Actually, I probably hit it with like a combo purchase. Like, probably did a microphone and speakers, KRK. They're the 5-inch KRKs. Rocket 5s, yeah.
Now we had when Chris was here, he ended up giving us like a list of some starter pack equipment for people to purchase if they're looking into creating like a studio or recording space, guys. So if you go to GWMusicLab.com, we still have that listed there. So like I think the microphones and speakers and other things are very important to know of what to have or what to acquire when you're going into any of these things. So definitely check those out, guys. And just a reminder, we are here with the famous Jeff Jackson, Mixing and Mastering Volume 2, Grace Weber's Music Lab. We're based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but we're broadcasting live everywhere. If we have any local teens, any Milwaukee teens that are here in the chat with us, please drop your name and your high school in the comments, and we'll make sure to get you entered into our giveaway before the session is over, okay? And definitely stick around because we have a really cool live demo of mixing coming up soon. So back to this. What was it that, because you were working in Classic, the cool thing about Classic Studios is that there are a lot of notable people that have passed through Chicago, through there, and since its genesis. So you've had the opportunity to work with a plethora of folks. But what was it that inspired you to move to a bigger market? And because you're based in Los Angeles and have been for nearly 10 years. And what was one of the first things you did upon your arrival there? So it's kind of a two-part question. What inspired you to move to LA? And what was one of the first things you did when you got there as far as to set yourself up for this?
Yeah, I first thing, it was like a series of things that got me to move out to LA. I realized that I want to keep learning more. I realized that there's just so much more to learn. And around that time, my friend Headache, as an engineer, Clinton, that's his name, producer name. He put me on to this idea of just like manifesting. So I manifested just like when I will move out to LA, what date, what year, month and year, and I did it. And so when I got out there, I always say I matched the blessing. Like, I put the work in that got me out here. Like I didn't waste time. So, I knew where I wanted to study at. I knew who I wanted to learn under. So I went to the studio and I, got an interview there, and I almost got because I didn't have a car. They told me we can wrap it up. You don't have a car. And I'm like, well, no, I'll figure it out. So, I matched the blessing. Is to pretty much sum it up. I made myself available.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you speak on manifestation too. Like, we don't talk a whole lot about stuff like that in general here, but I do think it's super important for people to know, like, no matter what your beliefs are, like, you can speak things into existence. Like, there's power within your words and power behind what you're putting with these words and their intent. So I think it's super inspirational that you were able to just speak out and envision you already being there by a certain time. So if anybody has any aspirations, not just with like leaving specifically, but anything, like maybe you might be watching and be like, this time next year, I'm going to be a mixing engineer. I'm going to have like my first client, or I'm going to be enveloped in this. Like, I think that's super cool for people to be able to pick up on. And I need to get better at my manifestations too, because I know that they work, but I think I'll be getting salty when one thing happen that don't happen that I asked for. I'm like, dang. Well, like, this whole thing is a mess.
You got to ask, like, you got to be very specific about it. So maybe it was a general kind of one word. You gotta be very specific about it. But yeah, I am a bit of a broad Betty. I have a tendency
of generalizing a lot of my asks, so maybe I should be more specific. I like lists. I'm gonna start making more lists. Like, writing these things down too is cool, so duly noted.
oh yeah.
So the time that you were able to get into Larrabee and grow into what you're doing now, I'm sure you must have come across some really interesting folks. I want to know, who are some of the most notable artists that you've had the pleasure of recording or mixing for, or are there any experiences that stick out to you the most?
Okay. Well, as a mix assistant, so when I came out here to learn, I worked on some really dope projects. People like Rihanna, John Mayer, John Legend, Kanye,
all the Johns,
DJ Khaled, all the Johns. I would work with all the. Those off. It was 3 years of that, so it was a lot of just crazy, amazing music coming in and out. Miguel. And when I left to become a mix engineer, freelance, I was working with Brent Fayez.
Nice.
Who else? I gotta like look at like my last hard drive or something. That's the only way I know.
So out of those, out of those handful of people, even like currently, is there like one particular experience that you were just like, oh, this is really really cool that I get to do this, or anything like, oh, this person sucks. I don't know.
No,
You ain't got to tell us if nobody suck, but we don't encourage slander of specific names here. But like, what was a notable like, wow, this is my job and this is really cool. This is really interesting that I get to do this.
Yeah, I think two people come to mind. I was recording Too Short. I did a session out here, out in Cali. It was crazy.
Nice. Did it go on and on?
It went on and on.
I'll be here all night, folks.
And that's and Brandy definitely sticks out. That was like a pinch.
Oh
pinch
my
myself.
gosh.
Yeah, it was cool.
What I wouldn't give to be in the same room with that vocal goddess. Like, she is one of my top 6.
Yeah.
Top 6, and I got a lot. I'm naming them to you. I got Brandy, Jill Scott, Janelle Monáe, Tidra Moses, Esperanza Spalding, and Vivian Green. Like, those are my top 6.
That's a good list.
Yeah, and she is like the helm because she was the first person when I was a little girl that I saw on TV doing this, and I was like, I want to be Moesha when I grew up.
Like, yeah, you want to be Mo to the
right. So, no, that's super dope.
Yeah.
So, in your bio, I read a part of this. It's super interesting that even though you have your own entity with Mix One, you are represented. You are represented by Quincy Jones Productions, which is I would just put that in like the header of my Facebook page, honestly. Like, it's just to the people who don't know who I am, like, they can still see your header, like, oh yeah, by the way, blah blah blah.
Just see it.
Can you explain to us what led to this partnership with Quincy, and what does it mean to be represented under his company?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. Just him alone, just like his discography, his credits, the things he's touched. And just being from Chicago as well, so
yeah,
it really means a lot. And I got connected with the company through a client, Chris McClinney, and so
nice.
He introduced me to a few people over there, and it was like, let's try it out, let's do it. So it was dope.
So by you being represented, what is, just for anybody who's not quite sure about what that means, like what does that entail, like, specifically?
Yeah, so you have a sort of like point person, a day-to-day person that just checks in on you, and you guys talk about just like the direction and like where you guys want to take your career, stuff like that, and bringing in work. When I'm in a studio working, I can't always just kind of network and be around and go to this, go to that. So representation is helpful in that way because your name is always just floating around in conversations that as artists we work weird hours. And, so it's just kind of like having someone that is a spokesperson, for you, who represents you.
So management in the gist. Yeah. So if anybody that's like trying to see what umbrella this all fits under, like, it's cool to note that mixing engineers can have management. Like, you don't think about that. Like, and when you think of like management, you think of artists first, some maybe even producers at some point, but like rarely do I think that mixing engineers come into that conversation. So I think this is a cool example of what that looks like. So kudos. I'm gonna give you plenty kudos all day, but kudos for sure.
Thank you.
So you have a plethora of experience, not just from the time that you've been doing this on a solid professional level, but even prior to. I'm curious, are there any helpful things that you wish that you would have known before choosing this profession?
I think having a better understanding of like mental health and just like understanding and figuring out just like how much of a, I mean, not to discourage you. I was told how much of a job this is, that it takes up a lot of your
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I guess just more mindful of like my peace of mind, my mental health. It's definitely something that any engineer should be aware of, that because we're in the customer service business, right?
Yeah.
You get gigs by saying yes, and so sometimes you might just need to learn how to take some self time, so you can be there for other people.
We put a large emphasis on mental health awareness here in lab, and especially last month because that was the whole National Depression Awareness Education. But year round, like we really try to emphasize with everybody, like putting that first. So I think it's super notable for everybody to remember, like that's still a key point in anything that you're doing, like regardless if you're on the artist side or the engineering side or just everyday life, like definitely keeping that up. If you're just tuning in, guys, just a reminder, this is Grace Weber's Music Lab. We're here for our final fall session for 2021 with Mixing and Mastering Volume 2 with Jeff Jackson. We are going to be going into a live demo of some mixing soon, but we're just getting some questions going with Jeff. If you have any questions whatsoever about what we're talking about, or you got questions that you'd like Jeff to answer specifically, please drop them in the comments and we will pull them up and make sure that they get answered. If you're his family and you want to know, like, when you come home, like, you could ask that too. But anything you guys want to know about Jeff, anything you want to know about his life or his career or his music and what he's doing, you're open to answer them at any point throughout this entire live. So just an FYI. For any Milwaukee local-based teens that are tuned in, if you're here, make sure you put your name and your high school in the comments, so I'll make sure I'm not overlooking anybody for our potential giveaways at the end of the session, all right? So I think it's really interesting, the conversation we've been having, even though you're a mixing engineer per se, like a lot of the stuff you're alluding to applies to everybody, no matter what aspect of the music industry they're trying to be in, which is really interesting to note. Like, there's so many things that are applicable across the board. What are some things, and this is a general conversation bit, what are some common misconceptions that you think there are about being able to thrive within the music industry, especially from someone who came from the Midwest and then moved out there? Like, anything you might have had expectations about, like what are some common misconceptions out there you think people should be aware of?
Yeah, I think everyone should be aware that everyone isn't, or everyone's not like good for business. Every gig isn't necessarily a good gig to take. So, you do have people who take advantage of people in the service industry, who provides a service, and you just don't want to go in too green, but be open to experiences. But if something don't sound right, it's like, okay, cool, that's probably not for me. And you find a lot of people out for themselves. So once you find like that circle of people that fit just like your morals, like you guys will hang tight.
Nice.
And, you have a circle of people, so it gets a bit better.
I think that when we are, at least from my generation, like I feel like people were taught or embedded this ideology that once you get some inkling of an opportunity, that you have to like take it and whatever comes your way, because you want to keep building and building and building. Like, and I think that that's something that we've had to break down over the last few years. It's like you said, everything is not necessarily meant for you. Like, it might, even though you're in the vicinity and you're in the space of what might seem like an opportunity, you have to really be discerning and assess how it will or won't be beneficial to you. Like, every situation does not deserve a yes. I think that's important for everybody to know. Like, even if it seems like, oh, if I do this, it'll get me further. Like, you have to really be like, am I willing to compromise this in order to do it? Or if I take this loss, does that mean that I'm not going to get another one? Not, really just being discerning about that, I think is really important for folks to remember.
Yeah.
And I think too, like even just hearing you talk, like people need just as much dedication being a mixing engineer as they do being an artist. You know, even though it's two different concentrations per se, it still requires a lot of the same forethought. You know, so no matter what aspect of it you're trying to get involved in, you want to make sure you have the same knowledge base of everything. Speaking of which, how important would you say that networking is to your path as a professional engineer in comparison to that of an artist?
It's different in its ways. Artists, it is less of a barrier between like artists and engineering, because like, okay, you kind of don't understand what I'm doing, so I always say like you really appreciate someone when you try and like maybe play a guitar and you realize how hard it is and you just see them play it effortlessly. It's like I appreciate that so much more. So I feel like it's that barrier where it's like, oh well, you know, you just go off and you come back with it. So networking is a bit different. You always say like just network across and don't always try and like network up. But as an artist, like, you know, you guys can be artists together. It's like you guys are like creative together. There's sort of like a terminology barrier as well, and like stuff like that.
Yeah. So just to add some more insight to that, we're talking about networking up versus networking out. I think people assume that when you're networking that you're only aspiring to connect with folks that are higher than you or that are in bigger positions than you in order to help you potentially move along. Whereas opposed to that, you're saying like, don't be afraid to connect with other like-minded folks, you know, who are in the same boat as you. Like, especially when you're talking about building like a solid source of teams, you know, like, or just people you can confide in or really hold you down. Like, don't be afraid to network outward in that sense. Like, you don't always have to be looking for the radio execs or the, you know, the music label execs. Like, oh, I can't talk to you. You're not important. You have no idea what this person is. And like, maybe this is the person that cut somebody that hair. They work at, you know, Sony. Who knows?
Yeah.
They might be the person to sign Epic, you know?
That's funny. You gonna throw that in? Look, and you also come up together, because like just like there's generations of like, okay, these are the next people up. Just like networking across with people who's at the same level, not level, but at the same point in their career. You going up just as well as them. So when they get up and whatever they're doing, you know, it's that camaraderie. It's that it's just known, like, yo, I ain't gonna say it's known because people do switch up, but it's sort of like this unknown thing where, all right, cool, you're my friend, I'm gonna look out for you, you know. So with so
I love it. And I think it's cool, like, because even like what we were doing when we were starting out, like back in the early 2012s, like tens, like that's kind of like what we were doing then, like, because you're still affiliated, still like friends, and with all the people you were like Headache and Classic and me, like we all knew what it was like to try to lift and do the same thing. So like that's another thing of networking outward too. Like
exactly.
you can carry these people along your journey with you in any kind of facet. So really good thing to note. We had a comment from somebody I just wanted to put out. It said, "Little bro making big moves. I see you. I love the love, man."
What's up, AJ?
I love it. I love it. Guys, if you are watching at home and you have other family members or friends that want to see Jeff do his thing, share this link, por favor, okay?
Yeah.
Share this on your Facebook page. It is public. It is open to any age. And if we have any Milwaukee teens, that's where we're based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If we have any local Milwaukee teens, I'm going to say one more time, if you guys are here, go ahead and jot your name down. So I'll make sure I don't miss anybody for our potential giveaways at the end. Okay. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever about Jeff or for Jeff that you want him to answer right now, put them in the comments so we can pull them up and we can make sure we get that going as well. So I just have a couple more things. You've accomplished a great deal of stuff within your career already. First of all, The biggest thing that came this week, because I feel like every week there's something cool and different. Like, I know your bio gets like the gist of stuff, but can we just note that this man mixed one of the songs for the soundtrack for the opening trailer for the new Sex and the City TV show on HBO Max? And I was like, ah! First of all, I am a huge SATC fan, so that was super, super dope. Like, I think it's cool to see every now and then, every few days, there's something interesting you're adding to your roster of cool things that Jeff does.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah. But so out of all the things you have accomplished, what are some of your goals that you would like to achieve from this point in your life?
Okay, that's
what's next for Jeff?
This is a platform to like really make sure I do it. And looking back, it's like, yo, you never did that.
Watch us come back with the sound bite of just this one thing. Like,
well, I want to continue to provide a space for engineers to collaborate together. I will have, and I think it's important to say not want, but will, because that's manifestation right there.
Hey,
so
speak on it.
I will have a studio that houses just multiple rooms, and they're occupied, and there's engineers in there, artists in there, producers, just like working. And I have a good idea at this point what a studio feels like to me, and
Okay.
To be able to just provide that opportunity to other people is great. So
Amazing.
yeah.
And you're talking about through Mix One.
Through
Mix One, which is
yeah.
your entity that you have right now that's already doing just that out there in LA. So you guys can check him out for sure. Especially if you are ever in the LA area. You're like, oh, I remember this guy. I saw him on Music Lab. He works at Mix One. Let me see what he's doing. So the final piece, before we move into our demo, that I always ask all of our guests, what is one strong piece of real advice, one that you can give to any of our audience members here, especially our young ones, who wish to follow in similar or unique paths for their creative careers?
Yeah, I think what has always helped me was this concept of like, I'm just head down working. Not in the sense that I'm missing work or missing opportunity, but not letting things just like amplify itself to make it so that I stop or you stop what career you're pursuing. So head down, work, focus on what you're doing, come up and reflect every year of what you have done, and then, go at it again hard next year, but practice, better mental health, practice taking a pause. But, as soon as you're done doing that, go hard, and then, just keep doing that, and it's going to happen. Whatever that goal is going to happen.
Love it. I love it. Look at you inspiring everybody. Look at this. Look at that.
Put some music behind that one.
Right. Okay. I think I will. That's dope. That's a good soundbite. Making note of the time mark and everything. Yo, this has been super cool. Guys, if you have any more questions that come up about stuff that we were just talking about, you're more than welcome to continue adding them to the comments. But right now, we are going to move into a special segment, which is going to be I'm trying to find the banner. I made a banner. Where is it? Lord. Anyway, the theme for November is Mixing and Mastering Volume 2. And with that, we have a very special demo that our guest is going to be giving for us right now. So he's going to go ahead and share his screen with us so we can check out a mixing session that he did for an artist named Masego, which is huge. First of all, Masego was a huge artist, one of my favorites. I actually aspired to be him when I grew up. And it's a song called Queen Tings, which hopefully some of you guys might be familiar with. So this is definitely the point. If we got any engineers or producers out there right now that are watching and following along, anything that he does that you have questions about, put it in the comments and we'll make sure that he sees it, especially and this is also going to be archived as well. So y'all can go back. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right here. Yeah. Cool. So, Jeff, you can go ahead and take it away and lead us through. And if I have any questions that come up, I'll be sure to add them on here as well. I'll probably hide this so people can see that.
Oh, okay. Let me see, because I can't see the comments, but
they're on the side panel on this doc here. So if something comes up, I'll pull it up the same way I did. Like, for example, we have one from here. It says, "Much love from Grandma." I love that your family tuned in. That's so awesome.
Right?
Shout outs to Just Family, guys.
Yeah, everyone in here.
Right.
Okay, cool. So I have a song loaded up for a remix I've done to, or mix for Masego's. Song is called Queen Teens, featuring Santee.
Okay.
So let's see. Usually when I get a session, the idea is to always have it sound like the reference that the artist's been living with, right?
Okay.
So it's like demoitis is a thing, right? As much as, some may say that is not, but you're used to hearing a song a certain way. So knowing that, I want to load all the files into Pro Tools, okay? And then I organize it. All right, so I color code things just so that I know what color to look for when I need to make some adjustments, right? And I play everything, and it should sound just like what the artist last listened to. Okay. So say that everything sounds correct, everything is good. When I listen to the song, I'm just taking mental notes of like what it is that I want to achieve. Okay, so when I press play, I usually start with the drums. Okay, so I solo up all the drums, and I listen. Okay, and then based off of what I'm hearing, okay, I either make adjustments. Like I want the kick, I'm gonna solo the kick up. Okay, that's the kick. I have the ability to turn this up or down. I have the ability to make this sound more energetic, more cool, right? Make it more featured, which will be louder. So let me just play the drums. Okay. So I'm going to turn this up just a little, okay? Okay. So I turned it up quite a bit. Okay, and that sounds cool to me. So I'm just listening to other things that I can perhaps turn up or down to make my head nod back and forth, okay? So one thing that I see is like I can turn the snare up, okay? So the snare is this side stick right here. Okay? So I have the ability to turn that up or down. So I'm going to turn that up, okay? And I'm able to do it right here just by turning things up with my mouse. Okay. Then next, I'm going to just bring in the bass. Say I'm cool with the drums. I'm going to bring the bass in now. Depending on what you're listening, how you're listening, you probably don't hear this frequency just because it's really low.
Yeah.
So the bigger speakers you have, the more you hear that. But this is a synth, a very low synth sounding, part. A synth bass. I like bass, so I'm gonna just turn that up.
It's a driving factor.
Oh yeah, it drives it. Okay, so at this point, I'm looking at what's called the stereo bus. Okay, so I'm looking to see how loud I am. And I won't bore you guys with all the details because it gets kind of boring. I usually like to, I don't like to stop the music just because I just want to keep grooving.
Yeah,
so
I got
if
you.
I'm talking over the music, I'm sorry.
No, I can hear you fine. If you guys at home are watching and there's something you need him to repeat or want him to note again or say louder, just let us know. But I think the balance is okay.
All right. Okay, so I'm looking at my meter and I never want to go up here. Okay, so as long as I'm not hitting this, which is distortion, because it'll get red, I'm good. So I'm mindful of that type of stuff. Okay, remember one thing I mentioned as I mix, one of my main jobs is to make sure things don't distort. If things get in this red zone, it's distorted. Okay, so I'm not doing my job correctly. Okay, and this is a limiter. This turns the overall song up without it distorting. If you use it correctly, because you can distort it. See how it just got louder?
Right. So a limiter is like a threshold for when you're trying to keep it from peaking against a certain decibel of volume.
And I'm gonna bring in the keys. Island. Sound like I'm on an island.
Very tropical.
So I usually try and turn things up or down first before I do additional processing. So I'm gonna grab an EQ. Okay, so an EQ is basically just how you have in your car. You have a low band, you have a mid, you have a high. And I'm able to basically do that to anything I want to. So if I'm boosting a low, you're gonna hear more lows. Again, depending on what speakers you're using or what headphones. But I want to bring out this. It brings out clarity. I can hear that with through all my drums, and it just adds a bit of texture to the song.
Yeah.
Make it translate through small speakers. I might go back and change that. Okay, so I just bring in ear candy. So one of the big parts of the songs, knowing Masego is a horn player, he's probably gonna want to hear his sax parts, his horns up a little loud. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's bring those in. Okay, I always say the horn is like another voice.
Vocal. Nice.
Okay. That might come down depending on where my vocals are at. So I still haven't brought in my vocal. I usually like to get the music sounding good before I bring in vocals. Just work on the foundation of the song. I'm gonna turn this bass up a little bit more.
Nice groove. So it's a constant game of balancing, pretty much. Yeah. And even though you set stuff somewhere, you don't necessarily have to leave it there, depending on how everything starts to play around it.
Exactly. You do a lot of changing your mind, especially early on in your career. you do things and you undo it and you do it again. It's like, I don't envy that place.
Lord, right, you should see me be over here recording myself, my God.
Right, be like, All right, let's bring some vocals in right here. All right. The people, I got the Jones for my own. So, Sego loves this reverb, so he actually gave it to me as an audio file, so it sounds
okay.
So this is reverb, so this gets you sounding all nice. Like you're in the bathroom, this is why you think you sound good.
Now, a quick question. When you're engineering, you prefer for people to give you dry audio takes of their vocals, or does it matter if they already have processing on them?
I like both. I like to use because they might do something that is like I can't redo, that just gives it a sound.
Okay.
Compression is one of those things. EQ is one of those things. But I like to have options. So I say give it to me dry and give me wet multi-tracks.
Okay.
So I got I got both. I got it dry, so this is dry. Okay. And I got his reverb return. So play it together. This is what I got.
Can you put me on with the nagarita?
Nice.
Okay.
She stay on my dome. She gon' pull on me, pull like weed, entice me. She my queen.
I'm gonna turn that up.
Yeah.
So I like to just get the vocalist sounding good. They're the main focus of the song, okay? So you always got to make sure you make space for them. So I'm going to add an EQ. It's going to cut out the low stuff, frequencies that I don't need.
Yeah, she my queen. Yeah,
just to show you what I'm doing with this EQ. So I can make it sound like a telephone. I just want to take out the frequencies that I don't need. Usually down here, above 100, below 100 hertz. This is what your bass is, okay? So I don't need the vocalist to be a super bassy sound, because that's just going to cloud up space for my actual bass, okay? So I want to make sure that I leave room for every instrument to have a moment in the song, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's play it.
The Peter, you know I got the Jones for my own Rashida.
Okay. So I don't like this frequency. I'm gonna take that out. But if I take it out too much, it sounds like that. Okay, he sounds different. So I'm gonna do it tastefully, just a little. Take it out just a little.
What's the name of this EQ that you have open right now?
Oh, this is Fab Filter Pro Q. Actually, I should have another one that I can use. I'm gonna use another EQ just so that it comes with any Pro Tools system. So if you like what you hear, you can just load up this version. So this is EQ7. Okay, this comes with Pro Tools. Okay, same purpose.
The Peter, you know I got the Jones for my
All right, so I want to add some high frequencies to Sego, just to make them sound clearer. So I look for that frequency. See how that sounds different, because I didn't work on that one yet. Alright, then his second verse. So if you guys notice, I'm doing what's called vocal rise, so automation. I'm turning him down when he says this word. So this and then I'm turning him up when he says this word.
Keep your bonnet on it.
So it's my job as an engineer to make sure that you're able to hear the artist no matter what they're saying. So sometimes when they're singing, they're swaying away from the mic. They maybe set this at a different volume. They're not mindful of just, being audible at all times during their vocal performance. So a bit of what I do is leveling them. So sometimes they may sound loud right here. Sometimes they're quiet right here. So I go in and I turn like even words, syllables, up or down individually, just so that, the artist is audible throughout the song.
Or Sharon Leo, she stayed down the hall, I call Regina. Keep your bonnet on.
So I'm gonna load up a compressor. A compressor is essentially me doing all the volume automation, but having a machine do it for me. So a compressor turns things down when it becomes too loud. Okay.
Or Sharon Leo.
This is how the threshold you tell the compressor, this is where I want to start bringing things down when it hits this level. Okay.
Or Sharon Leo.
So it's not compressing, it's not turning anything down. But as I go up, okay, it start.
Keep your bonnet on.
That's overworking it, right?
Yeah.
You know, you kind of don't want to hear compression, but compression has a cool sound. We talk about that later, though. And down here, I can decide how quickly I want to release the compression. So how quickly I will want to turn the compression off. Attack is how quickly I want it to start. Okay, so.
Or Sharon Leo. She stayed down the hall, or I call
Makeup gain is, I know I turned it down. I turned everything up as a whole to compensate. So let's listen to the.
She most alive, no, she gon' pull on me, pull like weed, entice me. She my queen.
All right, let's bring in some of his background.
She my queen. She my queen.
Okay, so I have the ability to turn that stuff up or down. We're going to introduce his backgrounds, some more stacks he has. Coming right here, you'll hear him.
She gon' pull on me, pull like weed, entice me.
Subtle. I want to turn him up overall. So what I'm going to do. Turn it up here.
She gon' pull on me, pull like weed, entice me. She my queen. She my queen.
Turn that up too. All right, let's check out the rapper he has on here.
Pull on me, pull like weed, entice me. She my queen. Gotta panic, ain't no cinematic. Whoa, she beside a boat. I was
So
on
turn him up to match the same volume as Masego.
Better, I gotta go, but I think it's tragic how you know.
So volume adjustments and gain staging seems to be like the primary aspect of a lot of these things, like first and foremost.
Absolutely. Gain staging is important because you just don't want to max out. I always say like stereo is left and right. So only you have so much energy you can fit into these two tubes, if you want to say. So gain staging makes it so that everything fits without it sounding compressed. You don't feel the kick hitting. You don't feel it punching you in your chest. All of those things are a consequence of like bad gain staging. When you don't hear things, when there's no energy, it sucks out the energy. Yeah. Okay. Let's check this out. The artist right here recorded his vocal, which seems to be like a different environment from Masego. So part of my job is to make it so it doesn't sound like a huge difference. But engineers, producers, I would say, don't drive yourself crazy trying to make a bad recording sound good. Just like do the best you can, because that will save you a lot of time. Okay.
Just get as close as you can to sound like they're in the same reference point.
Yeah, politely suggest maybe if they don't mind recutting it, but just know that's a sensitive subject, so you can never get the same performance back again.
Especially if they mad about it.
So let's see.
Gotta panic, ain't no cinematic. Whoa, she beside a boat. I was on a lawn trying to smoke, trying to grab it.
So what sticks out to me is Sego has this.
On Rashida.
It sounds like he's somewhere lush. He sounds like he's somewhere expensive, just floating around. So this,
gotta panic, ain't no cinematic.
Not so much. So, let's introduce some reverb. So reverb, and I'm gonna use a different reverb that comes with Pro Tools. Deverb.
Deverb.
Yep, deverb. D-verb. They're so specific.
Yeah. No, it's helpful because I know that a lot of folks want, like, they can't, especially because the screen is small. if they're watching
true.
on their phone. So it's helpful for them to know what you're pulling up when you're doing things. So thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. So reverb is to basically provide some type of ambient noise, some type of background to like just like provide space. It's like a spatial effect. So I can play it and you guys can check it out.
Gotta panic, ain't no cinematic, whoa. She beside a boat, I was on alone, tryna smoke, yeah. Tryna grab it, you know better, I gotta go. But I think it's tragic how you know better, but
Okay.
never show, yeah.
So this is without it. Hold on. This is with it.
Tryna look at me with that tone,
This is
yeah.
without
Said she
it.
hate when I gotta leave, need a clone, yeah. Ain't no nigga that you find
With
like
it.
me, more like me, sound like me. Gotta panic,
Okay.
ain't no
So I'ma just back it
cinematic,
down.
whoa. She beside a boat, I was on alone, tryna smoke, yeah.
It's amazing
Tryna
how
grab
that
it,
one thing made a world of difference, though.
Right? It helps. It makes it sound expensive. This is what they want from us, are these type of ideas.
Yeah.
As engineers.
She my queen, gotta panic, ain't no cinematic, whoa. She beside a boat, I was on alone, tryna smoke, yeah. Tryna grab it, you know better, I gotta go. But I think it's tragic how you know better, but never show, yeah. Never show, yeah. Now she wanna tryna look at me with that tone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's only so much we can do, so
that you find like me, more like me,
nothing wrong with
like
that.
me. Man, I'm dope, yeah. Me gangsta man, ya queen ting. And me and you together, it's a simple sweet thing.
So I feel like I want to add some bass to his verse right here.
Yeah, come again, Lord. She my queen. Hey, oh, hey, oh.
Just run through this one more time, because it's a bit of a couple volume drops in this verse.
Need a clone, yeah. Ain't no nigga that you find like me, more like me, sound like me. Man, I'm dope, yeah. Me gangsta man, ya queen ting. And me and you together, it's a simple sweet thing. Me pass ya big thing, me pass ya big thing. Better yet, come again, if you like. She my queen. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. She my queen.
But yeah, that would definitely take a bit more work.
She my queen.
That's where like the hours on hours come
Yeah.
into play. You'll just keep playing that vocal just all night to get it right. Okay, so let's check out this last part. Sounds like he has some a bridge stack vocal right here. Okay, let's add some reverb. Okay, again, reverb is for spatial. Okay, and that's cool. I can also do like some type of cool effect that'll make it sound unique. Clients love this. This is called a flanger.
Okay.
A flanger, you probably heard it. It's like a radio kind of effect too. Check it out.
Nice. I also noticed that a lot of vocals, I think some people think you have to like apply pitch correction first to things, but sometimes like the effect and the way that they're singing it might be better to leave it in their natural state. So it's interesting that you're having it. So we got a comment that came in from Lavish over on our YouTube channel, said they love this. Thank you. Thank you for
What up, Lavish?
Yeah. Quentin Farr, who I don't know, is watching and says, do you mix with any outboard gear or are you completely in the box?
Oh yeah, no, I have some outboard gear. Let's see if I can. Okay, this is me. Let's see.
I'll take it off for a second.
Take it off. Okay, can you see that? So
Yes.
I'm not set up. I'm in my studio. I just moved in, but
Okay.
get work done. So this is some of the outboard gear that I have. I have some next to it, but you can't see it. But yeah, I'm what you called a hybrid system. So I work digitally, right? The computer, that's digital, okay? It comes out of these machines, okay? And it goes into this, which sums it, turns it analog, and it comes back into the machine through this, and back into the computer. So
That's a massive setup.
thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, hold on. I don't think I can. I think the adjustments is fine.
okay, all right.
We're all family here. No, but I think that's a really cool question because a lot of people assume that all of this only is coming from like an internal thing from whatever device you're using. And it's cool to see that you can have an integration of both the computer device and that software plus outstanding hardware as well that you can kind of combine to make this whole system go. Thank you for the question, Quentin. Said it was awesome. I was trying not to sing along because I feel like you guys are probably hearing it in a different frequency than I am, so it will sound stupid. If I start like, she my queen, 2 seconds later, she my queen.
Okay.
Dope.
Do you have any more questions?
Are you able to add that back, the Pro Tools session back to the screen?
Do you see my camera when I do that?
Well, right now I don't see your camera. It's just blank.
Oh, okay. It's just like, okay. I'm gonna turn it back to the screen. I love showing my view.
It's an important aspect. There we go.
Okay, you see it?
Yes.
All right, cool.
I can't see you though.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna have someone come fix that for me.
If you want to keep going though, like if you want to keep talking,
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
Yeah, let's keep going. Okay, so this is a flanger. So this is it creates like a cool effect that I can probably use for this part of the song. Okay, thanks, Connor. Okay. We'll back it back some. Make it more subtle. Okay, so this part is the solo, so I'm gonna want to turn this solo up. Ooh, I love the percussion. Ooh, that roll sounds good. Okay, and usually right here is where I'll do a fade out, just so that it's I don't know. Honestly, I don't have to do it, but it's just good to do it.
Yeah.
Move it a little closer. Okay.
Especially if there's any like dead space. Yeah, it's helpful, I think. Nice. And we got a sneak peek at your setup.
Oh, look, the setup. Yeah. I can't wait to show you guys the studio. I've been just remodeling it, so it's almost done to present. So
nice.
I have a bunch of stuff that's getting done tomorrow. But yeah, I would love to show you all.
We have a question that came in over on our Facebook here. I'm going to take this off. It says, seems like engineers balance having the right ear and having the right equipment. And can you speak on that? Good question, Stacey.
That's actually my girlfriend. What's up, Stacey?
Hi, Stacey. Your camera's out again, FYI.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, it's about having the right ear and the right equipment, but without the right ear, the equipment is pointless because you don't know what you're supposed to be hearing from it. So that causes you to act different, react to it different. But yeah, it's a balance. Great engineers have both, for sure.
I think it's cool to listen to it when you're doing this in the process and in the end process, to listen to it through different mediums. You were one of the first people actually I saw do that, and we were working on a song, and you would take it and put it on like a tape player, because like speaking. Which is important because you want to make sure it sounds the same across any different way that people, like if you're listening to it in your car, if you're listening to it through your earphones and your earbuds, like all of that counts. And you want to make sure whatever adjustments you're making to it on this big system translates equally across the board. So that's also a really important part of having the right ear with engineers. Super dope. Yeah. Those are some good questions. Well, I'm excited that we got a peek at a Masego session. I already told you this. He's like my superhero. But I know there's a lot more that goes into finishing that, but I think that could help give us a wonderful gist of what that consists of. But it would be super cool to be able to hear the whole thing all the way through. So I think that we'll go ahead and close out with that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us near and far, turning into Grace Weber's Music Lab. We have been here in this wonderful session with the famous Jeff Jackson. Right. If you didn't catch the beginning, not to worry, because this session is going to be archived after the live ends on both our Facebook and YouTube pages for Grace Weber's Music Lab and 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. This is our final session of the fall of 2021, but we are going to take a break for the holiday and come right back at the top of the year for our Spring Music Lab kickoff on January 28th, 2022. So definitely make sure you check that out, guys. Again, if you want more information on Music Lab and what we do, then you can hit us up at www.gwmusiclab.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GW Music Lab. While I'm giving out names and stuff, Jeff, if our fellow viewers want to contact you, if they want to get in contact with you and have more questions that they didn't think of, or want to learn more about Mix One or connecting with you with anything, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can first follow me on Instagram at JeffJacksonMix. At Jeff Jackson Mix. And you can also contact me through email, which can be found on my website, jeffjacksonmix.com.
Nice.
Email address is also info at mix1.io.
And all of this is linked as a hub in his Instagram page as well. So you can find the website, even all of that stuff, if you follow him. So you should be following him regardless, okay? I'm telling you, this is the famous Jeff Jackson, all right? Thank you so much for being here, Jeff. I appreciate it. So great to reconnect with you. Guys, please tell a friend, tell somebody at home about GW Music Lab, Grace Weber Music Lab. We are doing awesome things like this every month throughout the school year to service our teen audience, but anybody who wants to tune in near and far. Special thanks again to our special sponsors, which are Advocate Aurora Health, American Family Insurance, Daniel M. Sorf Charitable Trust, MPS Partnership for the Arts and Humanities, the Ralph Evinrude Foundation, and of course, 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. My name is B Free. I'm the host and music ed coordinator here. And we're going to close out by listening to a full playthrough of Queen Tings by Masego, as just presented by Jeff Jackson. Thanks, guys.
I see the Peter. You know I got the Jones for my own Rashida. Can you put me on with the Nagarita? She stay on my dome, she gon' pull on me. Pull like weed, entice me. gon' pull on me, pull like weed inside me. Or Sharon Leo, she stay down the hall, or I call Regina. Keep your bonnet on and stay on for Lisa. She most Solange, no, she gon' pull on me, pull like weed inside me. She my queen, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. She my queen, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. She my queen, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. She gon' pull on me, pull like weed inside me. She my queen. Gotta panic, ain't no cinematic, whoa. She beside a boat, I was on alone, tryna smoke, yeah. Tryna grab it, you know better, I gotta go. But I think it's tragic how you know better, but never show, yeah. Never show, yeah. Now she wanna tryna look at me with that tone, yeah. Said she hate it when I gotta leave, need a clone, yeah. Ain't no that you find like me, more like me, sound like me, man, I'm dope, yeah. Me gangsta man, ya queen ting. And me and you together, it's a simple sweet thing. Me pass ya big thing, me pass ya big thing. Better yet, come again if you like. She my queen. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. She my queen. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. She my queen. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. She gon'